Like I said, it's just something you don't do. You don't sit around and talk about it, show your face and claim that you're something, especially not a graffiti artist. You know, nothing will ever be that way again. I mean, those guys were insane. They'd hit anything and everything, and it was more of a one-up in the last guy who did it, to see if you can get higher, bigger, or, you know, more detail-oriented, and started getting into characters and stuff like that. And it, you know, first off, there's a huge difference between graffiti and vandalism. A lot of what goes on today is vandalism. People think, you know, hey, I'm just going to go grab a can of spray paint and write 3 letters on a wall over and over and over and over again, and I'm going to get some sort of notoriety for that. Whereas everyone who actually does graffiti says boo. That just doesn't work. I think a lot more people had a lot better idea of the rules of the game. You don't hit things that are businesses that are open. You don't just go and spray on somebody's car. You find somewhere that's going to be torn down anyway, and you spray all that, you blow that fucking place up. I'm sure you can add a beep in there somewhere. If you listen to a lot of hip-hop, you're more than likely to know graffiti artists, whether they say anything or not. But has it changed? No, graffiti will never change. The attitude towards graffiti is constantly changing. Just depends on how you do it and how much respect you have for everybody else in your community. Because like I said, there's a big difference between graffiti and just going out and vandalizing. A lot of young kids will just go out there and vandalize. It's against the law, which gives them some sort of rush, I guess. But it makes everybody else look bad. I think graffiti doesn't do that. I think these dumbass kids who run around and don't respect their community do. I think that that's one of the main points, is that, you know, just because you got a spray can in your hand doesn't mean you know what you're doing. If you're a business owner and you have graffiti on your wall and you don't get it cleaned up, you get fined by the city as a business owner for not cleaning up the spot. So it costs people money. I don't think it's graffiti that's ruining it. I think it's people with no sense that are ruining it. Because there's plenty of places out there, they just don't want to look for it. They want to run down the street. And like I said earlier, you know, you can write do all across the wall. Who gives a shit? It's stupid. There's no point in it, you know. There's a few people right now that I wish I could find, because if I see them doing it, I'm gonna stop them. There's no point. A lot of people will go through graffiti though. They'll learn it and they'll learn basic letters, and then they'll find someone that they really like, and then they'll mimic their style, and then they'll kind of change it a little bit so that it's their style. But I never did any of that. I just went out there and whatever was on my mind came out. When I started in Atlanta, especially when I started getting really into it, it was getting thrown into the fire. Just go. You want to run with us, then, you know, you basically start by being a lookout. 2 other people go out and paint. You look for the cops. There's usually a, you know, like a cuckoo, or, you know, something like that. Try and sound like a bird or, you know, insect or something. But something that everybody knows, so that they know to pack their shit and start running. You know, we got other habits as graffiti artists as well. In Atlanta, it's different in Atlanta. In Atlanta, you go underneath a train trestle or something, and probably 4 or 5 people, you're just grab a handle of something, a bunch of beers, and you make a day out of it, you know. By day, I mean night, but there is no fear involved, because it's kind of like skateboarding. You drive around as a skateboarder looking for the cool spots, you know. Oh man, I'll hit that rail, or I'll do this, or I'll do that. It's just the same for graffiti. You end up driving around for hours and hours and hours just trying to find a spot that hasn't been blown up already, which is, you know, considered basically a hot spot. Once somebody's hit it, everyone's looking for somebody to come back there and do it again. So you kind of have to do your research, find a place where you're nice and cool and casual. Your piece is going to look like booty. I'm not getting any younger, and staying out later just gets harder and harder. It's just like anything else, man. I mean, it's art. If you're doing it for the right reasons, then you'll do it for life. You can't really walk away from something that you love, and you're not going to give it up. It's not like one of these days I'm going to go, oh, I'm too old to draw graffiti. As long as I can hold a pen, I'm not too old. And I'll probably be doing it till the day I die. It just depends. I mean, you know, I guarantee you that they're out there. Like I said, if you're doing this for the right reasons and you love what you're doing, then nothing's really going to stop you. It's not like, you know, your doctor's not going to walk up and say, like, you got to stop drawing graffiti or you're going to die, you know. And there's a whole lot of different styles of graffiti, man. You know, you don't have to go out with a spray can to do graffiti. I'm sure you've seen all these kids with their little paper stickers that they throw up. There's a lot of people who just run around with a stencil. You know, they'll sit at home and spend 6 hours building a stencil. That's probably going to last them 2 or 3 times before the paint mucks it all up. But they do it. When the clock strikes, you know, 1, that's all they think about. Where are we going to go? What are we going to hit tonight? Who all's going? What color should I bring? What accent color should I bring? A lot of times, you know, these people will sit around for a few hours before anything even jumps off, and we'll come up with a theme, and everyone's using the same colors, and there'll be little fills in between to where it all ties into one giant piece, you know, rather than just running around doing it on their own. I think most people end up doing it because they need some sort of sense of identity. They need to feel like, you know, this is who I am. Most of the people that I know that do graffiti do a whole lot of other things too. They're just normal people. But clothing design and, you know, doing t-shirts, and they end up working for some pretty cool people. I wouldn't suggest anybody gets into it if they're not into it, but if you are into it, you should never stop, because a lot of good can come out of that.